Hi, welcome. We are so happy you joined us today for our first in a series of Ask the Mayor. CMAP is doing a new series with the mayor, and we hope that this gets to be a series. We think it will, and we hope that you like it. So be sure and let us know after it's all over. We're talking to Gilroy's mayor, Mayor Dawn Gage, who is with us today in studio. And we have some questions that we're going to talk about and get started. We've divided our show into 3 parts. So the first part will be about what's on the agenda, what's on the council agenda, what's coming up for consideration. And Mayor Dawn will be talking about each of those. And he's not going to tell us how he's going to vote because, of course, the whole discussion hasn't taken place yet or anything. But he is going to talk about the points to consider and for us as citizens to be aware of when the vote comes up. Then the second segment will be questions from the public. We've talked to some Gilroy citizens out there, and we've asked questions or asked them to ask us questions that they would like to know from the mayor. So we're going to talk to Don and get his answers to those questions about what people want to know. And then the third segment is going to give us an opportunity to get to know the mayor just a little bit more personally outside his mayor duties, find out about who he is. So we are ready to get started, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time introducing the mayor. I will just say that the mayor is in this first term as Gilroy mayor again, first term again, Dawn. He is a mayor again. He had been a mayor for 8 years, then went on to be Santa Clara County supervisor for 8 more years, and then he returned home to Gilroy after those terms were done, and he has been elected mayor for a 4-year term again. And so I am very happy to say welcome, Dawn. Thank you for coming back to Gilroy, and thank you for the service you're doing again, but for all the service you've done for our community and all of us as the years pass by. We're ready to get started. Do you have any opening remarks, anything you'd like to say?
No, I'm just happy to be back. I was born and raised here and lived here all my life, but I did work in the valley since 1967, so it was a big commute deal.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just dig right in because we have an awful lot of things to cover and some limited time to cover it in. I think we probably could talk all day about the things that are going on in the city of Gilroy, but let's just dive right in and get to that first question on the council agenda and talked about lately. The council is considering a quality of life measure, whether to put that on the ballot and get the citizens to vote on it. But quality of life is a broad term, so why don't you give us some details about what the quality of life measure is all about?
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. When I got reelected this second time, I had a lot of groups of citizens come to me, individuals talking about their needs, the arts and culture folks and so forth, and they needed money to continue doing some of the things in the community they wanted to do. And when I thought about it, I thought, really, we don't have a redevelopment agency, and there aren't any anymore. So there's no way for us to get extra money except to go ask the citizens, as we did when we built the library. And so we hired a firm that did the library a couple of years ago before that was built. And they went out and they did a survey. And surprisingly, the survey came back saying that the citizens believe that they need more money. Gilroy needs more money to do some of the things that haven't been done for years, and which was very encouraging. And we haven't decided whether it's going to be a bond or a sales tax measure. The council will make the final decision on whether or not it does go on the ballot. But some of the things that we found when we did the survey, because the people that were talking to me didn't necessarily, they weren't high on the list. But we talked, one of the things we have to do is we got to fix all our sidewalks, curb and gutter, and that's a huge job. That's about an $8 million job. We have to fix, modernize our 911 system so we can communicate with other agencies. That means all new radios, all new equipment. Maintain essential services is one thing that was very high on the agenda. Repaving deteriorating streets. and also maintaining police protection. They were very concerned about public safety and expanding our crime prevention and services. So those are the things that we're looking at within the program, and we will actually be asking people as we go through this process, are there any other things they're considering or concerned about?
Okay, so let's just clarify that. Just for me, one little thing, and that is either way, whether it's a real bond measure or whether it's a sales tax measure, when you're asking the citizens, are you asking for a period of time? Are you saying start now and stop then?
Yeah, there'll be a sunset on it. There
Okay.
definitely will. There is a difference between a bond and a sales tax. A bond measure can only be used for capital programs. A sales tax can be used for capital programs as well as personnel.
Oh, okay.
So the people want more police protection. That's personnel. So we are leaning that way, but we haven't finalized because we got a lot more community meetings to have with this whole situation.
Okay, great. Well, then let's just pop into that next topic, the Downtown Paseo project. The funding is of question. People want to know, how is that funded? Is it already funded? What's the progress on it? We know that some property's been acquired. So tell us the update on the Paseo project and what the council is going to consider next.
Right. We have funded it, but we've funded the basic things. The whole idea of the Paseo was to get people from Eagleberry Street and the parking lot to downtown so they could operate. It's funded basically out of our general fund, which means sales tax and property tax revenue. What the council is considering is doing other things like putting cameras, but we've put in a significant amount of money. We had to buy the property first, and that was the whole project is about $1.2 million. So we're working very hard to get it open within the next 5 months. It'll be basic. It'll be a path through the center. It'll be bordered, and it'll have the walls all painted. And then the committee is going to fundraise for the rest of the money to put the different murals on there that represent Gilroy through history. There'll be lights in there, and then if the police feel better, they would put cameras in there. So all of that's going to be done by fundraising, but the majority of that is done through the City of Gilroy and our taxes, our general fund.
All right, good. Well, then I think we might have time for one more question here in this segment. Approval of the 369 unit residential subdivision. What's the update on that? What's going on there?
The 369 units are in the planning department right now. The application is in there and it's being reviewed. The plan is to take that to the council sometime later in March, and it has to go first through the planning commission. So basically they're ready to move, and it's all a matter of timing and when that gets done, because that brings with it a lot of other things. We'll get some roads done and different traffic moods models so that we can, with those developments. So it'll improve the traffic situation around the schools out on Santa Teresa, Thomas Road, and Luchesa.
Okay. Well, we're going to wrap up this segment. We have questions left. One about the Economic Development Strategic Plan. We have a question about the Downtown Action Plan, and then the sign ordinance. Those are all things that are coming up. Mm-hmm. So let me remind our guests, our viewers, that CMAP does air the City Council meeting. So we didn't get to talk about these topics, but you can watch the City Council meetings. You can watch the progress. You can see what happened there on our CMAP channel. So check out your listings. Besides being on the cable, they are also streamed on your internet now. So be sure and check that out if you have interest in those. And we are going to take a quick break right now and have a video that I think you'll be interested in seeing. And then after that video, we're going to come right back here and get into our next stack of questions.
Do you have special talents you would like to share with kids in need? Chamberlains Children's Center, a nonprofit group home for foster youth ages 6 through 17, is currently seeking volunteers who would like to make an impact on our children's lives. If you have a particular skill or interest that you think the kids might enjoy learning more about, we likely have an opportunity for you. We also occasionally seek out skilled volunteers to expand our health, wellness, and nutrition program, and garden and fitness or nutrition instructors to teach our children the importance of maintaining a healthy lifestyle. We are especially seeking out individuals who are musically inclined to help out in our music and movement room. If you love to play a sport, dance, cook, do crafts, exercise, or have fun with another kid-friendly activity, please give us a call.
We're back. Great to have you back with us. We are going on to our next group of questions. The mayor does want to remind you about his meeting with the mayor. So, Don, why don't you tell the people about that, your regular meeting,
Yeah,
in case
I
they have more questions.
Yeah, I have a meeting once a month on Saturday. It's called Coffee with the Mayor. It starts at 9:30 in the morning. I provide some coffee and some refreshments, and it gives an opportunity for me to update the folks that are there, and they can ask me any question they want, and it's straight talk. I give them the straight answers. Generally, if they have concerns, I take all that down, I bring it back to the city, and I bring it to Tom, and we get the questions answered, and I either answer all those questions at the next one, the next meeting, or we send out information for specifics. You know, people need traffic control or something like that, or whatever. So that's been working out very well. But and we've been having 15 to 30 people every Saturday.
Oh,
so
that's a good turnout.
yeah,
Great.
it is.
So,
And I don't do it in the summer because everybody's gone,
Yeah.
basically.
all right, so coffee with the mayor if you want to have a little more personal time with the mayor. So we're into our second segment now, which is about, let's see, what was that? Oh, questions from the public. I almost forgot where we were. Questions from the public. So we have our first question that the public wants to know, and that's about, we're hearing a lot about drought, and of course, it's at state level, the state has been declared a drought state. We're in drought condition. And we just recently, this week, heard from the Santa Clara Valley Water District encouraging people to save water and to take steps to save water. So what's the city condition? First of all, what about municipal water? Are you cutting back on parks or anything like that? And then what are you asking the citizens to do?
Yeah, we have cut back because this has happened before on our facilities for maintenance and the parks. We have watering systems that are more efficient now and effective. Actually, from a water point of view, we're in pretty good shape down here, but we're asking that the citizens conserve 10% more water. Now, when we had the drought several years ago, we're kind of going along where the water district is with that, because they'll say 10 or whatever, and we conserve 19%. You know, then the drought goes away and everybody starts using more water, but they can't depend on that forever. But all our facilities, we do all the things to our facilities that require homes, the low flow toilets and everything else, and watering systems are set up on timers, and you water at the right time of day, and so we're in pretty good shape there.
Great. Well, I do know one program the Santa Clara Valley Water District does, especially with the Easy Saver, is that landscape water saving, where the water district offers rebates for turf removal and then for updated irrigation equipment, sprinkler systems and things. And I do know that other cities, certainly one is close by is Morgan Hill, match the water district's rebate. I wondered if the city of Gilroy is at all thinking about that, or is that
We've
a
done that
topic?
in the past, and we work with them to do that. But one thing that I wanted to mention that I forgot in terms of the water is that we are the largest producer of recyclable water in the whole area down here. next to San Jose. Our sewer plant generates 3.5 million gallons a day of tertiary water, and we've got pipe going all over the place. Most of the farmers use it right now, but in the future will be able to get into using the purple pipes in housing for landscaping. And there are some companies that use this water for their air conditioning because they have the kind outside where the water flows over it, and also use it for the watering around because it's safe. That's Title 22 water. So any expansion of the sewer plant has to be done tertiary.
That's really interesting, and I think that the citizens will be very happy to know and be reminded about how much recycled water we use.
And we're putting in more purple pipe.
Yeah.
That's scheduled this year.
Yeah. Okay. So then, what can this next question, new topic? What can the city do to help restore historical buildings in Gilroy, or what are they already doing? And
Right.
can they add to?
We actually have some historical buildings, and we restored 3 of them. One is the old city hall, another one is the Willie House, and another one is the museum. And most all the other buildings are privately owned, but we have so the property owners are ones that are accountable, and they are mostly URM buildings, unreinforced masonry buildings. So there's a lot of work that has to be done there, and that's a whole nother topic because we're working to fix the unreinforced masonry buildings in the downtown area. There's the Mills Act, which gives property owners a tax break if they restore a building. And we're considering other programs to bridge funding through the bond issue. As an example, we're looking at doing a revolving account of $1 million where we can give low interest loans to the property owners to fix their URM because they can't get a regular bank loan because it's an unsafe building. So they 1 or 2%, 3% at the max interest to be able to fix their building up. So those are the kinds of things that we're doing. And we encourage the public on these buildings to restore them wherever possible rather than tear them down.
But at the moment, let's just do a quick follow-up there. At the moment, those some of those URM buildings downtown have been cleared for occupancy because the qualifications have been reduced. Is that
Well,
my understanding? Is that correct?
It's not the qualifications. The reason to make them safe, you can do it in phases. You don't necessarily have to do a complete retrofit. You can do a partial retrofit. So if the only problem with the building is the roof isn't attached to the walls, and they do that, they don't have to reinforce anything else. So there are some buildings that do the entire building because they want to do that. So if the only part of that building is the front of it, for example, is what needs to be restored, they can do that and then go do the back just like you would building a house. You put it up the way you want.
Okay.
So that's what this issue is there.
I see. I understand that better now. Thanks for clarifying that for me. Good, and we have our next question. Development and impact fees. There was a discussion a few years ago, and I was on a chamber government relations committee at that time, and we talked about how the impact fees and the development fees might be a little high for other cities our size in the county and in the state. And I just want to talk about that for a minute. Do you think our fees are in line now and ready to go and competitive with other cities our size? And
that's a good question because that's something that everybody asks. And in 2011, the city reduced their impact fees 18 to 25%. And we are in line with most other communities because all these communities are trying to get 100% cost recovery. And if you don't want impact fees, we can stop development. But that's not the right way to do it because people need homes to live in. We want to attract commercial and industrial in here. So we feel that burden should go on the developer and not on to the people who live here. I mean, if they want to if your neighbor wants to build a house there, they should pay for the impact fees, not you. So that's kind of the way we feel, but we're in line now, and we're absolutely not out of line by reducing those, 18 to 25%.
Great. Okay. Well, that was the last question in that segment. Is there anything else you want to cover in this segment? We just have about 30 seconds, maybe 40 seconds
One of
left.
the questions had to do with the air quality. The Bay Area Air Quality Management District controls when you get a Save the Air, Spare the Air Day. I have a number here, and they can write it down if they like. It's 1-800-334-6367. If you see somebody burn their fireplace on a Save the Air Day, you need to call that number, and they do all the, they do the follow up on that. We don't have the authority. It's the Bay Area Air Quality Control District that does that, and they're located in San Francisco.
Oh, great. That's really good information to have. People think they can just dial 911 and somebody will go out with lights and
We have
siren.
we have
and put
no
out the fire.
authority to do that. We
Okay.
can't enforce it. We can't write citations.
Okay, very good information. Well, thanks, Mayor Dawn. We are moving right along with our segments, and we're about ready to go to a video, and then we're going to come back and ask Dawn some personal questions. So I hope you stay tuned for that. We'll see you in just a minute.
Hi, my name is Elvira Zaragoza Robinson, and I'm a member of Bethany Community Church in Gilroy. As part of the youth ministry, I coordinate the youth activities for Bethany Youth Empowerment Center. Some of those activities include a youth choir, folklorico dance class, and a mentor program for boys and girls. As part of the mentor program, both the mentors and students attend a college tour, a professional ball game, they learn carpentry, they learn to dress for success, and much more. This summer, our youth went to outings to Santa Cruz Beach and Boardwalk, the Morgan Hill Aquatic Center, and Yosemite National Park. If you're interested in participating in any of these activities, which are free of cost, please call me 831-801-5530.
Over there, you're asleep.
We're back. Great that you joined us for our third segment of our first show of Ask the Mayor. In our third segment, we are going to take the opportunity to try to get to know the mayor just a little bit better and find out what he does when he's not mayor or when he's not when he's not doing his official duties. He's been known to us for, of course, years, with the first 2 terms as mayor, city council before that, and then the 2 terms as supervisor. So, and now back at mayor, but we know he's a very effective and good leader, but we don't always get to know what he does in his spare time. And I tell you, one of the first encounters I had with Don when I first came to Gilroy, years ago, Don, of course, in, 81, it was a little after 81, but our son was taking hunter safety course, and you taught that course, the hunter safety course. And so do you still do any hunter safety or any classes like that or anything?
I taught that for 17 years,
Yeah.
and then I started getting so busy because it was a class that we had to do 4 times a year.
Yeah.
And it's 2 days out of the Friday night and a Saturday.
Yeah.
So it got to the point where I needed to let the younger folks get involved, and Steve Fortino does it now, and Henry Coletto, who's retired from the county, helps them with that, and they have a place at the Stevenson Ranch where they can actually go hunting and have live fire and stuff like that. So it's a better program. I did mine in the old senior center, not the old one.
The long time ago. Well, we appreciated that. Our family did, certainly. But now I want to ask you a question. I want to start here with, why don't you give us kind of your bucket list, although it's not bucket really, but what are 3 things that you would like to have accomplished before the end of your term as mayor? What do you want to see done? What may not be necessarily on the agenda, but what is in your sights as having accomplished?
Yeah, what I'm going to give you is things that I want to see done. There are many, many other things that have to be done that are just as important, but one of the things I see here, and it's been a question when I was the mayor the first time, and it's been 22 years, was the downtown. And people complained about the downtown and the unreinforced masonry buildings and the fact that nothing was getting fixed up. So, You know, one of the things I want to have completed is I want to have all the unreinforced masonry buildings fixed and occupied with tenants. That's the first thing. The second thing, because I've had a lot of experience at the city level, the county level, working with people, the state and federal government, I have a broader view, I guess, rather than a specific view here. And one of the things it takes to make this community work is the community. I mean, everybody thinks government should do everything for them, and we can't. We have a lot of limitations, you know, funds. We're not even back to where we were before 2007 downfall. Our general fund from sales tax revenue is still about $1.3 million low, and that's one of the reasons for the quality of life measure, is that we're not even back to where we were at that point in time. So you need to get the community involved. I started the Interfaith Council, and we're working. We do cleanups in the city. We have a huge one coming up in April. And, you know, we put 500 to 700, 800 people going out working in the community and cleaning up all parts as volunteers. And we ask that the students from both high schools that need to make up hours do that. So you got to have community involvement. And that's one of the things that I'm seeing. And the last thing is I want to see Gilroy cleaned up. We are, you know, you drive into town, and what do you see if you come in on 10th Street? A lime green warehouse. You know, we can't have that here. If you want to attract businesses to come here so that we have jobs, so that when our children grow up, they don't have to leave town like I did and go to work in the valley to get a job that's reasonable. They can work here. Now, we do have a huge company coming in here, UNFI, and they will create jobs that pay in the $45,000 to $50,000 range, but that's only 500 jobs. And they're an anchor, and we'll see more. But if you want people to come to this community and bring their businesses and live here, your community has to look nice. And there are things in this community that really need to be cleaned up. You know, we got used car. You go in the middle of town on First Street and there's 3 used car lots. You know, when you drive in and you see that, what does that remind you of? You know, is it a place you want to live and raise your children? My opinion is no. So we need to do that by changing our ordinances so we make our requirements, our building requirements and everything a little bit stricter. People are always asking, well, why does Morgan Hill look so nice? Well, first they had a redevelopment agency, which they got $200 million extra dollars. But the other thing is they have high standards. And it's what you want your community to look like. And if that's the case, you have to have high standards. They have no problem building out their residential and commercial industrial. We won't have it here. If people want to build here, they're going to have higher standards. And that's the thing that I really would like to see in place by the time I leave in 3 years.
Okay, great. So you know what, I think we will be catching up with you as we go through our Ask the Mayor series later on. Maybe you can report back to us if there's any progress on those 3 things. And then our final question, we just have one more that we want to do, is what's on your personal bucket list outside of all the Gilroy responsibilities, all the duties, all the mayor and municipal responsibilities? What do you personally have that you want to accomplish before too long?
Well, one of the things is the youth. I've always focused on the youth. We need more activities for the youth. We need to get them involved in the community at an early age. You know, that's one of the reasons the schools want them to get involved with volunteerism. But we need to focus on that. We need to provide activities for them. We need to provide activities in the evenings and so forth. We need to better communicate with the public. This is one way of doing it. I, in this last month, had almost 20 pieces of communications from the public, and they were all positive in terms of thanking the fire department, the police department. Nobody knows about that. You know, and the other thing is I want to try to complete everything that I'm starting, the URMs, the signed ordinances, all the things we're working on. I started the HCP, the habitat plan, and it's 10 years took me to finish that. I went from the whole 14 years I was at the Board of Supervisors to get it done. Things just take forever in government, and we got to stop that. We've got to get things, the overpass, the bypass.
Well, speaking of stop, Dawn, I really am
Yeah,
sorry.
we're done,
I got to
huh?
stop you here now. Wow, this was great having you here today, and we have so much to talk about. I feel sure we'll be getting back together before too long to go over some of the updates on these issues and to talk about some new things that the people want to ask the mayor about. Thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you for your time and your continued long service to Gilroy and its citizens.
I'm really happy to do that, and I enjoy this. I'm excited about this at my age, which keeps me going.
Okay, and that's the last word from the mayor. Have a great week. We'll see you back here as soon as we can put another one of these shows together. And be sure and let CMAP know that you liked it and want to see it again.